Let me bring up something that I know Tennessee fans are going to be bringing up. Where do you find the time for, or where do you find the snaps for these players? And I've got an answer, but I also want to hear what you have to say.
Oh, this is easy.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's easy as well.
All right. So, one, you got to remember, Jake Merklinger is coming in as a true freshman. I think he's just now on campus. He just played in the Polynesian Bowl. Did a great job. He's coming in knowing that he's the number 2 guy. And let's be honest, in old school football, that was almost as good as being a starter as a freshman.
Absolutely.
So you got 2 guys that are basically winning, right? You got Nico, who knows he's the guy. You got Jake coming in as a 4-star. He knows that let's be honest, he's a play away. He's a play away from being the guy immediately coming in as a freshman. Then you got George McIntyre, who's the in-state kid, the 5-star. He's going to come in, and he's probably being sold, hey, man, you're going to be able to compete by year 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to redshirt you first year, if at all possible. If an injury happens, and an injury happens, but you're going to redshirt the first year for George's year, or George McIntyre's year. And then he's still got 2 years after Jake, after everybody graduates. It's so easy to get, that's not even an issue. And what people fail to understand is we need that. We don't have depth right now. If Nico goes down, people are going to quickly realize we are not in good hands at the quarterback position. So we got to get these guys in here and get them coached up and get them ready to play immediately.
I was going to say, you've only got, going into the season this year, you've only got 2 scholarship quarterbacks on the roster right now. You got Nico, and then you've got Jake Merklinger.
And thank goodness that Gaston Moore is sticking around.
Exactly. So you do have some experience, a guy that has literally been in Josh Heupel's offense for, 5 years? 4 years at least.
And people are probably going to come at us and be like, man, how is Gaston Moore not playing? Like, guys, let's be honest. He's not – he doesn't have the arm. He doesn't have the size to play in this league and be successful, right? But he is a great mentor, and I'm willing to bet he's a great leader in the locker room, and that's why he's still on the team. And then we got another guy in Ryan, I think Dameron, that's on the team that's a quarterback. But, let's just keep it true. He's a walk-on. He's not got the size. He's not got the arm strength, but he's there to be a good leader. And, if worst-case scenario happens, you lose 2 quarterbacks and you got to follow somebody, then they're there. But then as Tennessee fans, man, we in some trouble if something like that happens. So
you've got Navy Schuler back there too, but same thing. He's a walk-on as well.
And you can see the difference when they're in the game.
Absolutely.
Not that they play bad. I'm saying size-wise, when they release the ball, you just see the difference and the caliber of athlete one is to the other. So I'm glad they're on the team. I'm glad they're on the team.
Absolutely.
I'm not sitting here trash talking our backup quarterbacks. I just need folks to understand that we need this 3-year stretch of quarterbacks, literally probably more than any other team. And as a Tennessee fan, when's the last time we've had not just a good quarterback, but a good 1-2, 1-2-3 at quarterback?
I really think the last time that you had that was back when it was Casey Clausen. You had Eric Ainge was the backup, and then I forget who the other guy was that was there as well. But you had Ainge and another freshman that were battling it out in the 04-05 season, I believe it was.
God, I wish you wouldn't ask me questions when I was 4 years old.
Yeah, I can't remember the name, but I hear Ainge talk about it on his show all the time, how they battled it out. They both came in. Fulmer told them
Crompton wasn't a freshman then, was he? No,
Crompton came in towards the end of Eric Ainge's career because he was the one that followed Ainge.
Fair enough.
Whoever it was that was battling with Ainge ended up transferring out or something along those lines when Ainge won.
Ainge. Shout out to the EA show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, both of them came in. Fulmer told them that they were going to have the opportunity to battle for the starting job, and Ainge ended up winning it out. He got hurt. The other guy got some time. So you see times like this, but I want to give my answer on it as well because I do. Yeah, I do think that it's a simple answer. It's Nico has got it this year, and he's going to have it next year as well. You got Merklinger is going to be the guy after Nico, and you're going to have McIntyre behind him learning everything. And then, Merklinger is there 1 year, maybe 2 years, depending on how things go. And then McIntyre is going to step up, take his place. And then it's got to be next man up. Heupel is going to he will keep getting these quarterbacks in the recruiting classes because you mentioned it. He is a quarterback's coach.
There's a second variable in this though that I kind of want to add more to my answer. People are expecting quarterbacks to stay for a senior year because we've gotten so spoiled with the COVID year, super senior year, grad transfer year. Like, you got kids playing 7 years of college football, and that's not what you want. You want your quarterback to come in, play 2 solid years for their sophomore, junior year, draft, get the next guy in there. That's exactly what Heupel's trying to build. He's trying to get Nico in to play a sophomore year, this coming year. Mm-hmm. His junior year, win a freaking natty. He go to the draft, next man up.
Yeah, and see, Nico was asked what his plans were, and Nico said, I'm going to play the next 2 years, and then I'm gone. That's his plan.
That's the pipeline that you have to build, and at some point, we're going to build that pipeline for every position. So people thinking that incoming freshmen are not going to have playing time immediately, okay, maybe not as a freshman, but if you're on a good team, you don't want your freshmen to play unless they're like God almighty, like the number 1 overall pick coming up, like Bob Bowers was. I'm just saying, like, to have a healthy roster and to have a healthy, like, locker room management type deal, you're able to sell these young guys knowing that they've got somebody above them, but you're going to be able to tell them, like, hey, if they're out in 2 years, you're going to redshirt. You're only out 1 year technically of eligibility. You're still going to have 3 years to play in my team if you should, choose it. That's not that hard to convince a player to do that. And most freshmen that are not the number 1 overall pick understand that. I mean, look at Nico. Nico was the number 1 recruit, and Josh Heupel was able to tell him, hey, you're going to come in here. You're going to learn your freshman year. It was able to work out to where he was able to redshirt. So, I mean, that's not hard at all.
That's what I wanted to explain to folks during the season that we're saying, oh, Nico's going to transfer out because he's not getting playing time on the field. No, he came in knowing he was the number 2 guy.
Yeah.
So he's not going to transfer out just because he's not playing, because he knew he was the number 2 guy. Joe Milton was the guy.
Bunch of casuals.
Yeah. So, and I guarantee that's exactly what Heupel told Jake Merklinger whenever he was recruiting him. He said, look, here's the plan. Nico's going to be my guy. You're going to get a chance to compete. I'm not going to tell you that you're not going to start, but Nico's my guy. You're going to learn behind him. As long as you're okay with that, then we're ready to have you up here, because after Nico, it's you.
Yep, absolutely.
And as long as you're transparent with recruits like that, then that's great, because I want to go back to some dark days of Tennessee whenever Butch Jones was here. Butch Jones just told every recruit, hey, you're my guy, man. This is you. And that was a problem with, I'll just throw up 2 players, Jalen Hurd and Alvin Kamara. Especially Kamara. Kamara was told that he was going to be the guy, and then Butch Jones just kept trying to give the ball to Jalen Hurd, wasn't giving Kamara the carries that he probably should have gotten. Now, there was a way you could have given both players enough carries, but Butch Jones was dead set, I'm going to run the spread offense instead of doing what he should have done and have the 1-2 combo of Hurd, the power runner, and Kamara, the speed guy. But, that's a totally different topic. But as long as you're transparent with a recruit and tell them what's going to happen and not tell them what they want to hear, then I mean, you're going to have success on the recruiting trail. And right now we're seeing that.
It's a fine line. Like, you got to give them that promise, because, I mean, obviously kids are coming out of high school wanting to play immediately, which is, I mean, if I was a player, I'd want to do the same thing. But as long as you're honest about it and saying, let's to George McIntyre, I don't know what's being said behind closed doors, but it's probably along the lines of, hey, you come in, you redshirt, and you learn. You got 2 guys above you. We're going to be fine as far as depth goes. You're going to come in and learn. By the time your first year of eligibility that we use, you're going to be our number 2 guy. And you're a play
at the very least.
Yeah, and you're going to be a play away from being a starter, and you haven't even touched the practice field yet. You go out there and you ball out in spring and fall camp, you might have a starting job. Now, yes, if he were to beat out Jake, then yes, we may have a situation where a quarterback hits the transfer portal. But that is a better situation than Jake winning out the job and, George McIntyre hitting the portal, because now you lose, you know what I mean? Like, you lose a little bit more of, I guess, eligibility years. You have to really work on the next year's recruiting at that point. So, no, it's healthy. It's healthy right now at the quarterback position. I think we're really healthy right now at the wide receiver position. In fact, let's just go ahead and talk about